You're watching New Car Spin. I'm your host, Brian Grant, and this is the Audi Q3. It's new, it's 2019, and it looks to me like a baby Bentley Bentayga. I'm kind of crazy in that way, but I am probably not alone. I just like the way the curves are here on the fenders and just the overall shape. It looks very Bentley-like. The color is pretty cool too here. And what I want to do is I want to show you this Q3 today, and I want to go over it and give you the price and everything, but I also want to talk about a few things. The elephant in the room here is this obviously is apparently obvious. How other way can I say it? It looks like they took this Volkswagen Tiguan, the new one, and then they made an Audi Q3 out of it. But we're going to find out. First though, let's go ahead and get inside. I'm going to do that right now. Okay, first things first is, well, the interior looks pretty Spartan. You look at it and go, huh, that looks exactly like a Volkswagen. And it's not very nice in here. I mean, from the perspective of, gee, that's an Audi. And we do know that the last generation Tiguan was based on the older model Volkswagen Golf. It's basically a Volkswagen Golf with 4Motion all-wheel drive and the older engine from the Audi TT. But if we look around in here, we still have a touchscreen display and, you know, controls and everything. But, you know, if you were to believe me 100% here, and you gotta remember, you're watching New Car Spin, I'm putting the spin on new cars. This is my biggest tweak of your logic yet. What we're actually in is the Volkswagen Tiguan. I'm serious. You see? There we go. This is the Tiguan, and I have the window sticker right here. It just happens to be the 2019 SE, which has a 2-liter engine, similar to what the Audi has, but this has less power, obviously. Although Volkswagen and Audi don't put power figures on their window stickers. And then we have a 8-speed automatic. Now this is front-wheel drive, and the thing is, the Q3 comes with all-wheel drive. And the reason why we're in the Tiguan right now, and I'll get to the Q3 in 1 second, is I drove a Tiguan SE last year, and I said that the Tiguan SE 4Motion is such a good car, you don't need the Golf anymore. And I said, in fact, I would like to see a Tiguan R. And just recently, Volkswagen announced they're killing off the Golf R. Now, this car in particular with front-wheel drive is terrible. I haven't done the review on this yet, but obviously now you know. What I do want to say, though, is the all-wheel drive version of the Tiguan is great. And I wish it had more power. And that's why I said I want the R. But then I realized the R is going to be expensive, but the alternative is right there. It's the Q3, which is basically the same. And let's actually take a look at that. How similar are they? Well, they both have roof racks. They both pretty much have the same platform. They're very similar. So the only difference obviously here is the Tiguan is a little longer. This is the long wheelbase that we get in the US. If we didn't get the long wheelbase, we would have had the short wheelbase, which is what the Q3 is. So we only get the long wheelbase version of the VW Tiguan, which has an optional third row. Otherwise, they're the same. They even both have fake exhaust, which I guess is a feature now. But the sticker on this is 27, and I'll tell you the sticker on that in a second. The difference here is that Q3 has everything this doesn't have. That's a Prestige as well. Normally you have to order a Prestige. You'll see we still have, even though that's 2019 and a new model, we still have the older style key, which leads me to believe that the interior of this Q3 is what the interior of the new A3 is going to be a lot like. So, let's see. Does it have the sequential turn signals? Yes, it does. Okay, that's good to see. Obviously, both of these cars have keyless entry. This is the Tiguan press vehicle I have, and this is what the key looks like for that. So it's the typical VW key, but it does not have sequential turn signals. This is the SE trim, so it's kind of middle of the road. But it's like, what does 20 grand get you going from this to the Audi? Obviously, you're going to get more power. The Q3 has Quattro as standard, so you're always going to have all-wheel drive. and there is no longer different engine options available on the Q3. You get one engine choice, and you get one drivetrain choice. Plus, you also have a panoramic roof up here. So, let's open that back seat. There we go. Back seat here. Looks interesting. And then our trunk is a power trunk, which is not what we get in the Tiguan. Pretty roomy trunk. This is obviously the long wheelbase Tiguan, so I don't like when I can't remotely open from the... jeez. Okay. The back seat's bigger in the Tiguan for obvious reasons. It's the long wheelbase version. And then if you look at the trunk area, this is with the seats down. We can pull the seats up here to prove that they do exist. Okay, so third row. This is for a different demographic, obviously, and we don't have a power trunk lid in this SE model. But that's what 27 grand gets you these days. I'll show you again the interior one last time. And fuel economy on this one, because it's front wheel drive, is 29 on the highway. But let's close this, lock it up, and let's take off in this bad boy. Let's go ahead and close that trunk. Fake exhaust tips. Okay. Not that that's a bad thing. I mean, this is just a little SUV, right? It's for toting around in the city and stuff. I do like the storage part here. The seats do adjust in the back. They recline quite well. Let me get in the back. So I am sitting behind the seat as I had it when I drove it, and sitting back here I have a lot of headroom, and I always liked the Q3 for that. I always felt the Q3 had more headroom in back than the Q5, even the previous gen. And it still applies today. These door handles though are a little phallic. They're a little weird too, like I guess you can open them both ways, but to me it's just a little weird. Not a deal breaker though, not a big deal. Let's get to the front. Of course, a brand new Audi smells really good, and this one has the S-Line trim. So you'll see it on the door sills, and you'll see it here on the front fender, which means it has special wheels. And this one is also a Prestige with sport seats. So we have these squabs that come in and out, which are great, highly adjustable seats. They're very comforting, very snugging. And then when you get in, they're very supportive. And of course, the headrest comes up and it comes out. And there's all sorts of adjustments with it. So that makes it much more convenient and comfortable for anybody at any time. And now we look at this interior. I'm going to start it up in 1 second. And in order to do that, I'm going to pause the camera, because when the airbags trigger active and all this other stuff happens, my cameras freak out and the audio out of sync happens, and I'm sick of that. So we don't edit here on New Car Spin. I just continuously go. There's no voiceover, there's no BS, there's no rewind, there's no second take. I don't have more than one chance. So this is my only chance, and this is how we do it. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this and then resume in 1 second. Okay, we are now in the Q3. We have virtual cockpit. Now in the Tiguan you can get digital cockpit, but not on the SE. You'd have to get the SEL. So by the time you get to the fully loaded version and everything else, you're at like 32. And the starting price on this, I think, is 35. And it has more power, and it includes all-wheel drive. So I think if you're like, the Tiguan SEL is kind of cool, but not enough, then obviously what that means is you need to look at the Q3. Q3 is a shorter wheelbase, but that means it's going to be sportier, and it's going to have more power. So you see where they're going here with the power and the whole Audi aspect to it. This may be the new best Audi you can buy. This is actually the least expensive new Audi you can buy, I think. I'm pretty sure of that. So in here we have updates, the new touch screen, and it's very responsive, and we have a lot of glare, as you can tell, but I think it's just because of where I'm parked. I'm here in like a dead zone for lighting. And I love this. We have the AC controls out of the old A3, which are better than the old TT, which was in the previous gen Q3, if I didn't lose you there. Basically, this is great. You push in for auto. You can turn this around all you want. You can hold this down, and it sets itself to 72 degrees. I guess it doesn't do it on this one. Oh well. Anyway, you can turn the knob, control the temperatures here, and that's your volume knob, and you can rock it back left to right to change the track or whatever. Let's see, I'm going to change this. There you go. Now you can probably hear me better. Heated seats, and I just overall like this configuration. Just turn this knob, turn the fan down. That way now you can hear me. Here we have vehicle status. Whoa, we had weather in there too. Let's see. Yeah, we have all sorts of cool stuff in here now. If you sync your phone, you'd be able to see more stuff. I'm going to go to vehicle. This doesn't have the click. I'm not seeing that there's a click here, which is, you know, on the other Audi models with the touchscreen, you get this like feedback, and I don't think, maybe it's just not active. I don't know. We have driver assistance, traffic light info, adaptive cruise assist, distance warning. We have all sorts of stuff in here. So, okay. I'm going to turn that back on. Oops. Okay, let me get to the sticker, because I'm sure this is what you want to know more about. Bam! 2019 Q3 S-Line 45 TFSI Quattro. So, turbo fuel stratified injection, Quattro is all-wheel drive. 45 means nothing to us in the US. And here it is, 2-liter, 4-cylinder inline. It's obviously a turbo, 8-speed auto, just like that Tiguan right there. Although that's front-wheel drive, but you could get that with all-wheel drive, you'd still have the 8-speed. We have 19-inch wheels standard on this, but bear with me for 1 second. This one is called Kronos Gray Metallic. It has a black interior. So 36 is the base. And if you're looking at that in an SEL with 4Motion, you'd probably be around 33. So for $3,000 more, you get into an Audi which has more of everything. So here we have more. So we've got the panoramic sunroof, we've got the power tailgate, we have heated mirrors, we have auto dimming mirror, frameless obviously, and we have, let's see, we still don't have, maybe we do have the garage door opener somewhere in here. I don't know, we'll have to find that if it says home link or something. Not seeing it. Anyway, we'll continue with the options. Prestige package. Now that is a fully loaded Audi right there. Normally a Prestige has to be ordered. It's almost a $7,000 option. Oh yeah, there we go. I just saw home link garage door opener. So it does have it. I just don't see it in here. Normally it's like in the visors or around here. Maybe it's built into the... who knows? Who knows? Those are hidden buttons at this point. If you find it, you let me know in the comment section below, because I don't see it. We do have park assist. We have parking sensors. We have hill descent control. This is the auto stop start off at traffic lights. This is traction control off. And drive select allows us to choose the different driving modes. We're going to be in dynamic today. Although if we go into auto, the vehicle will drive just normal and then adjust to the situation. In this case, though, we're going to go down here and press that, and we're going to go to dynamic, so it's in full sport mode. Let's go on here. Sorry, I'm all over the place. 20-inch wheel package, so that's only an $800 option, which obviously gets you summer performance tires. So that's actually a good deal when you look at the cost of upgrading your wheels and tires. Audi has always been good at that. Sport interior package, that includes these seats, which I highly recommend. Don't get this Q3 without these seats. And then Audi beam rings, which are the little rings that illuminate on the ground when you open the door. It's only $250. It's pretty cheap. I'd go for it. Base price $46.40. So you may be like, well, that's something to choke on. And I'd be like, yeah, you're right. However, that's the worst case scenario for what is probably the most affordable Audi, or what will be, because once they kill off the A3 in 2020, it'll look more like this inside anyway. So if you can't wait for another year or two for that new A3, this is what it's probably going to look like. Sorry about that. There we go. Anyway, we've got the shade. So we're going to open that shade. Now you're going to see more of me. And then, of course, the sunroof opens up and out. Pretty nice. Once that closes, we will get on with some of the other stuff. Electronic parking brake, exposed cup holders. This looks like a phone holder, although I can't really tell. A USB-B and USB-C. And then we have this thing called phone box, which is wireless charging for your phone. And apparently it also boosts the cell signal. It's kind of a common thing these days. This control is much better than the control in the Tiguan. Just figured I'd let you know about that. And then this armrest here, actually, unlike the Tiguan, is stepped. So you get your traditional support here, and then it actually comes in and out. So you have full adjustment of the center armrest. I don't know why they got rid of it in the Tiguan and the Jetta, but that's Volkswagen for you. And we have another power outlet here. And of course the glove box seems to be roomy, and we have SD and SIM card slot in there. Although I think the SIM card slot is in the US not usable. Long story on that one. Okay, so we have paddles for our manual gear changes if we feel like it. Let's go ahead and put it in drive. When you do that in dynamic mode, it says dynamic, and then it goes into S for sport. If you don't want it in sport mode, you just pull back here and it goes into drive. But we're going to put it in sport. So there we go. And I'm going to turn the air down one more click here so you can hear me better. Okay, I do like the chrome trim here. That matches the bevel, or whatever this is here, or whatever you want to call that. I like the air vents up high. Feels very comfortable. And then there's a lot of room in here anyway. Like, there's a lot of space between the steering wheel and the door. And we still have our child lock and window lock at the same time. When you activate it, it's electronic from here. I don't think that's possible in the Tiguan. And these are our headlight controls now. So we have our all-weather lights, which are basically considered fog lights. And then we have auto with low beams, side marker lights, and then off. So we just toggle through as we press this button. So you can see there, which is cool. We got rid of the whole like knob turny thing. Ooh, look at that already. Oh, the R8. R8 Spider. That's a nice color too. Well, let's move ahead a little bit. So with the parking brake, we don't have to push down on it. We just push on the gas pedal and it will release automatically. Oh yeah. That is a nice toy. Ooh, that's only $225,000. They sell a lot of them here. This Audi of South Austin dealership is awesome. It's a big toy store, I'll tell you that. Alright. Gotta watch out for the guy in the RAV4, or whatever that is. Yeah, that's a RAV4. And we're going to go around the block. We're going to see what this thing feels like. You can get stats from other people, but you can't really tell what it's like unless you go with me. Okay, floored. Definitely has a sharp gear change. It only has a few miles on it. So I don't want to take it too hard around these corners. The tires are kind of not even worn in yet, so you can hear the engine, you can hear the exhaust. It's kind of like sporty on that side. Let's go to navigation. I think we can just go here.
To also use the online recognizer, please accept the license agreement.
Oh, I guess I'm going to have to say navigation. Let's just go to that. There we go. So now you can see we have a nice map. We have it here too, which in the Q3 is revolutionary. This is like the whole new thing, all this tech. Ride is pretty firm, but compliant. I'm not really getting too much drift over these potholes and everything. It's planted, especially compared to that long wheelbase Tiguan, which is your only option in the US, by the way. So if you don't want a long wheelbase Tiguan, Q3. You get more power out of this anyway. You don't have to fiddle around with the mods and worry about your warranty or anything. Let's go this way. I do like the roominess in here. It seems to be much more usable. The old Q3 was cool. It was a little smaller inside, but I kind of liked that intimate feeling. We're going to go left. I'm going to turn off the auto stop start because I'm not a real fan of that kind of system in any car. Because like in the US you have stop signs and in Europe you have roundabouts. So when you get to stop signs and it's only for a half second, to me it's like I don't like coming to a stop for a half second and then the engine turning off. So if you don't put your foot down on the brake all the way, it won't turn off. Oh, this is great. We're like at a low traffic point here. Not bad for 1:41 in the morning. That's actually wrong. Okay, so it's got more get up and go than the Tiguan. It sounds better than the Tiguan. This is why when I first drove the Tiguan, I said I want a Golf R version. But honestly, a Tiguan R, which doesn't exist. But if you were to get a amped up version of the Tiguan, this is what it would be, the Q3. And I like the Q3. This camera angle is so weird today. I can't figure this out. I don't know why. Is it like zoomed in? No. The road is ground up here for the repaving. So that extra road noise is courtesy of the city of Austin. So we have our typical Audi controls. We have a radar cruise in here. So you set it here. I'm not going to show that right now because we don't really need it. I'm going to go into Drive Select Auto. That changes the steering feel. It doesn't do anything to the suspension in here, but it changes the steering feel, the throttle mapping, and it's much easier at low speed to turn this wheel. I'll tell you that right now. Interior-wise, it's pretty roomy. You can see we have a lot of space. I'm comfortable. There's nothing to complain about. And there's a really cool feature here of this contrast stitching and then some suede. It's not like a fabric. Down here is a fabric, and that's done to keep any rubbing sounds from happening along the no-go zone, basically, you know, where you drop your french fries and your pen and your phone and your wallet and your key and your spare change. All that goes down in there over time, obviously. So, yeah, it's better to have fabric down there than the leather. And I'm just bummed that there's no cover for the cup holder. I'm wondering if this is lit here, if this is lighting. I don't know what this looks like at night, but I'm sure they do something a little cool with it like they did in the previous Q3. Signal left. The display on the instrumentation is a little crisper than my 2017 A3 I had, which had the same virtual cockpit. Yeah, they've changed the animation too. It's kind of cool. And this is more of a balanced car now, so there's a lot less understeer feeling. We're going to go this way. We'll do it. There we go. So we now see a 1 second warning threshold, so we're following close enough to the vehicle in front. If we got closer, I think it wouldn't like us. Yep, see, it doesn't like us. So we'll ease back a little bit. Obviously, we're going slower than the speed limit because we are behind a Toyota. That's what they do. and we're going to go up there and make a U-turn and head back to Audi of South Austin. I just wanted to do a quick drive in this car. It's definitely a different car from the previous Gen Q3. It feels much more grown up and bigger. It doesn't feel like they cobbled together parts, but that old one was really cool because it felt like a TT/Golf with a raised suspension and all-wheel drive. To me, it made sense. It was so compact. This is more practical in daily use of today, and it has all the tech you'd want that you can't get on that older one. And they moved the screen down. It's all touchscreen now. Oh yeah, nice grip. So it feels very balanced and weighted as we go through her in auto mode. And we actually have our own lane to turn in. There we go. And you notice there's not much wind noise, and we don't hear any adjacent traffic. So the vehicles next to us aren't really making too much noise in here. Yeah, we just cut right through that. You can't really hear the neighboring vehicles. And we are going to make a right up here. We're going to make a pretty hard right. We have blind spot monitoring, of course, Audi style. Little indicators here inside so no one can see that they are in your blind spot. Kind of game your driving style. We're going to make a right here. Pretty hard right too, so brace yourself. Oh yeah, a little sideways action there. Worked out pretty nice. I drove an RS5 Sportback, and that was the most amazing turn I made in this car. In that car, it felt really cool. It pivoted and just used traction control and everything just nicely. This car, obviously not the same on that performance level. However, it does corner, so I approve of that. And the suspension, because this is an SUV, the suspension is more forgiving than the traditional Audi sedan sporty setup, which is good. My gimbal's freaking out again. Okay. I'll go through this one more time. Navigation. And we have an ability to go through our settings. Oh, we can change map orientation. We can change the content. And I think we can have different style. Yeah, so you can have a different style map here than here, which is the beauty of it. It's not like you get the same for both. We're gonna go for it. That's in auto mode too, by the way. We gotta move over here. Move over again. So I want to thank Audi of South Austin for letting me drive the new Q3. It's definitely a fun little car. And I like how they've really improved this interior. And the drive quality is definitely different from the previous gen. This one's definitely more smooth and grown up. It feels more like a Q5 actually. And I used to own a Q5, so I know what I'm talking about. But to me, this is like, this actually has the same amount of power as that 2015 Q5 I used to own. But let's do this. Let me park it here, and then we'll just hop in that Tiguan real quick, and I'll give you kind of like a back-to-back on what I'm talking about with everything. That way you know I'm not talking smack. We'll do that. Here, park. It's hard to do with the wrong hand. And the start button. Bam. Okay. That's the window sticker. We'll leave that there. Cool. I wonder if we can open... I know we can open the trunk from here remotely, but can we close it remotely? It's just a good looking car. I like the way it looks. Nope, it won't close remotely. That's fine though. We'll just hit this button, which we need anyway, which is lock. So we'll close it, walk away, it'll lock on its own. Okay. And then we'll get in this one. Now this is not necessarily a comparison. What I'm showing you is, you know, if you think the Tiguan just isn't enough car for you, and you want just something a little better, obviously that Q3 looks great. All right. So in here, let me start it up. I'm going to pause it real quick so we don't have our audio sync problem. So let's go with this. Okay, so in here, this is actually a press vehicle I'm driving. It's trying to connect to my phone and everything, which it won't. The switchgear and everything's different. The problem here is, like, I'll sometimes go to turn off the parking brake, and instead I actually turn off the engine. I've done that a couple times. So I just leave the parking brake set. And the HVAC controls in here are a little bit more complicated. I'm always confused because I see this for defrost and I see that for defrost. And I always get confused looking around, like, where's recirc? Where's recirc? Like, I can never find it. It's right there. And no big deal. But we have, like, max and auto. So this is much more complicated than that Q3, I'll tell you that. And, well, no sunroof, right? And longer wheelbase, no leather, but it is perforated. I mean, this stuff is robust. It'll last you 100 years, or maybe 1,000. Haha, we know the joke. Anyway, let's move forward and go around the block in here. Now, this one's front-wheel drive, so it's not going to grip or drive the same at all. But the air vents, you'll notice, are still up high. So it's kind of, freakishly the same. Although this is not made in Hungary. So the Q3 is made in Hungary. This is made, I think, in Mexico. So a lot slower. Front-wheel drive, too, is also trying to like center itself out here. Don't think we'll be able to take this turn as rapidly. Has that nice all-road right there, too. And this definitely has understeer. This wheelbase is a lot longer than the Q3. I'm going to make a right up here. And this has much fatter tires. The sidewall height is really big, so this ride quality is going to be about as cushy as you'd expect. And inside, you hear this groaning four-cylinder. It wasn't groaning in the Q3. It was kind of a growl. Not a snarl, though. And in here, you hear the suspension. So it's definitely a lot less vehicle in here than the Q3. So it's not the same, is what I'm trying to tell you. The difference between these two cars is $20,000. Whoa! Nice. Alright. We also have the auto stop start in here. We have to yield. So there's a lot more noise in here, you can tell. It's not as refined. The AC vent, actually, the sound coming from the AC, that fan is a different frequency, or it sounds louder. There's a different hum to it, which is also annoying. And what else? Road noise. There's a lot more road noise. Well, of course. Let's go around. Just want to give you a quick taste of that. Floored. That's front-wheel drive there, trying to find grip. Of course, 4Motion wouldn't have done that, and Quattro isn't going to do this. It's going to send power to the wheels that have grip. So in this car, we don't even have that cross differential setup that we would get in the Golf GTI. I wish they would give you something more in this Tiguan, but they won't. This is all about volume, and it's all about competing with that freaking RAV4 and the Highlander and, you know, the cheaper Japanese competitors. Whereas the Q3 is kind of able enough to stand on its own. It looks great too. Look at that thing. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. So I definitely would take the Q3 if I'm looking for a car I want to lease that was, you know, doable in the city and, you know, has that kind of like adventure capability, works in the snow and the rain and everything, and I can take it to my cabin and all that stuff. Yeah. Liking it a lot. Trying to think, oh yeah, let's do this. Pop the hood. Nice thing is we have a gas strut here, which is hard to come by on the cheaper Volkswagen models these days. Transverse engine setup. Let's see what it looks like in this. This looks so good. And the Audi just sounds better when you open and shut the door. It's just obviously better. Okay, so here you go. Transverse mount, airbox up front, battery in the back, a lot of control units, engine mount. Kind of same thing. Airbox, battery in the back, control units, motor mount. Looks to be the same motor mount, which is okay. Yeah. But I like this Audi better for what it is. Let's see this hood form. So hoods might even be different just for crumple protection and stuff. I don't know. I mean, you can't go wrong with the Tiguan if you got the 4Motion. And I mean, the Q3 is Q3. You can get whatever you want on it. It's kind of the beauty of it. And there you go. That looks good. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. Boom. Looks like a little Bentley. Looks like a family car kind of thing. So there you go. I'm Brian with New Car Spin. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. I love you. Okay. That's it. Tiguan. Q3. Let me know which one you'd rather have. If money was no object, I'm sure I'd have an answer from you that would say probably the Q3. But let's just say it was the same price. Would you want that because of the bigger back door and the third row? And lack of sunroof? Or is this the deal? Is this like the one for you? God, it sounds so much better. Listen to that. So there's a lot more insulation I'm picking up in the doors of the Audi. Let's see the trunk one more time. I do like a manual lift-to-gate though, because you can kind of open it faster than this. It's not that slow though. 40, 20, 40 split. We have lights firing down from up here in the Audi Q3. We have a spare tire, and there's a subwoofer in the middle there. We have a jack. So basically, if you get a flat tire, you can make a repair and keep going. Let's close that. And in here, we actually have a lever to move those seats up front. And we do have a spare tire. It looks to be the same spare tire, actually. So like you look down here, you go, oh, well, geez, the Volkswagen Tiguan actually has kind of a lot of stuff. But it's all the little things that are kind of like not at your disposal, which you'll notice in the Audi. They're there. Hard plastic. Anyway, I'm going to review this Tiguan later. Just figure I'd give you the demonstration of the difference between them. And I hope you appreciate it. Sorry for the long video, but I had to do it. See you later.